The secret to happiness is to align with your soul's wisdom, but daily life often gets in the way. To keep you on your path, join Linda Manning, transformational coach and healer, for spiritual inspiration and interviews with amazing healers and teachers. If you are eager to connect with your soul, excited to travel on inner adventures, and are curious to learn from cutting-edge teachers, then this is the podcast for you.
Hello, listeners. This is Linda Manning, transformational coach and healer, helping you stay inspired no matter what crazy stuff is happening in your life. Today, we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is getting what you want in life. It is such a rich and juicy and complex topic because, let's face it, sometimes we get what we want, or at least what we think we want, and it doesn't bring us the happiness that we expected. And other times, we don't get what we think we want, and we're really grateful afterwards because we got something even better. So getting in touch with what you want and having it show up, that's a really complex process. But we're going to break it down into some smaller steps that will help get you on your way. All right. So one of the biggest reasons that people don't get what they want is because they don't know what it is. And that, my friends, is the topic for today. So I want to start by sharing with you a little bit about my story about learning what I want. And we're going to go back in time to my early 20s. So at that time, I was what I would call a classic people pleaser. I was so completely focused on other people and what they wanted, I didn't even know what my own opinions are. I can tell you that my husband finds this really hard to believe, but I swear it is true. And it was especially true when it came to boyfriends. So raise your hand if you can relate. One of the reasons that I was so passionate and committed to becoming very intuitive was because I really wanted to mind read my boyfriends. And I remember one night, the guy I was dating at the time asked where I wanted to go to dinner. Not a crazy question, right? But I didn't know the answer. I was completely out of touch with what I wanted. And so when he asked me that question, first of all, it gave me anxiety. And second of all, I totally focused on where did I think he wanted to go. I don't even remember where we went to dinner, but I remember that trying to have that Vulcan mind meld that I could read his mind and how really tiring that was. I suspect that this people pleasing that I was on might have gone on for a long time, maybe even to today. But I made a decision that changed my life. Dun, dun, dun. All right, here's what it was. A few years after graduating from college, I decided to travel to Europe, and mostly on my own. My sister was studying over there, so I went to visit her for a week, and I went traveling with a friend for a week, but most of the time I was going to be on my own. And I was pretty nervous about that, but I was in this awful job that paid very little. And the thought of continuing their very dysfunctional organization was just so depressing. And I had really wanted to go and travel. So I decided to take the chance. So here I am, I'm sleeping in youth hostels on bunk beds. I'm wearing a money belt around my waist because this is before ATMs. And it never leaves me except when I'm in the shower. And I've got a backpack filled with the absolute bare essentials, including, as it turns out, one pair of pants, which was a little bit of a misjudgment on my part. And I had a Eurail pass. So each day I had to decide what I wanted to do, where I was going to eat, where I was going to sleep, even what country I was going to visit. So for somebody who was not good at knowing what they wanted, this was a monumental challenge. But because I was traveling on my own, I had no one's mind to read. I had to make all the decisions. And by the time the trip was over, I learned that I did have preferences and I really could make decisions. So that was a real game changer for me that truly changed the trajectory of my life. I would love to hear from any of you if there was an event in your life that helped you know what you want. Because here's the thing. When you don't know what you want, it's actually pretty depressing. It sucks some of the zest out of life. And if you're caught on focusing on pleasing other people and you're really empty and not clear on what you want, you're not connected with your soul. You're not connected with your divine self. So let me give you another example. I had a healing client this past year who hated her job, but she couldn't figure out what she wanted to do. I don't know if any of you can relate. Anyway, we worked together for a while, and she had not given herself permission to focus on herself and what she wanted since her daughter was born 12 years earlier. And as we talked and we released old beliefs about having to sacrifice herself for others and about needing to take care of other people, that if she took care of herself, she was considered selfish, all of these limiting beliefs, she started to open up to and explore some of her interests. And before long, she developed a passion for flower essences. And the last time we talked, she was deep into her second level of certification to be a flower essence healer, and she was loving it. And that's what's possible when we get in touch with what we want. We can find our passions and really be in the excitement of it. A few years ago, I studied at Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts. I was in New York. And among other things, Mama Gina had us name our desires. And I just love the word desire. It's just so much juicier than want, right? So go ahead and say it. Desire. I desire something. Isn't that kind of more exciting? So think about something that you desire and don't let reality constrain you. Go wild. Do you desire a beachfront home in Hawaii? Or to travel around the world, or a fabulous new job? Maybe you desire a romantic experience, or maybe you desire a quiet day to yourself, right? It's a whole range of things that we can desire. And so I'm going to be honest, for me personally, when it comes to day-to-day things like where do I want to eat, I am really good at having opinions. And I have really gotten good at tuning into what do I want and creating that and bringing that to myself. But when it comes to some of the bigger things in life, like my vision for my business or what I want retirement to look like, I still sometimes struggle to be clear on what I want. But luckily, I have a practice that helps me that I want to share with you. I have a weekly phone call with 3 friends from Mama Gina's. And one of the things that we do every single week is we say our desires out loud. And what's really interesting is I have found that even when I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, which is a lot of the time, when I am forced to say it out loud in front of supportive people, I often come up with really brilliant insights. So just by saying my desire out loud, even without knowing it, the wisdom flows. So here was my statement last week. And if you like it, you can take it. So I desire to be in an absolute flow of abundance and delight so that I easily and joyfully receive more money than I need and experience joy in everything that shows up for me. So abundance and joy, those are my themes for the week. And the beautiful thing about that is that it is not dependent on something outside of me happening, because I can tap into the abundance I already have in my life, and I can look around and experience joy by choosing it. So very often the things that we desire, we think that something outside of us has to change to get it. But the reality is that when we name it as a desire and we tap into it as if it's already here, we're actually paving the way to attract it to ourselves more. So this is one of the spiritual secrets of abundance, is that you want to act as if. You name your desire and then you act as if. And the amazing thing is, especially with something like joy, when I act as if, in other words, when I say, okay, my desire is to have joy, so let me create that for myself. Let me look at what's happening in my life through the lens of joy. I actually do get more joy. Saying it out loud once is a great start, but if you really want to get in touch with your desires, then you want to say it over and over. So it could be your mantra of the week. You can write it down. You can sing it. You can dance it. You can celebrate it. You can write it on your mirror. really take time to imagine that you have it and how it feels, and that you're already in the celebration of it. And if you have a group of supportive friends, you could share this with them and try it. Say, hey, friends, let's share our desires with each other once a week. And if that feels a little too risky or you don't have friends like that, then I would love to invite you to join the Trust Your Wisdom Facebook page. And you can share your desires there, because this is a 100% supportive community. And I will go in and support you and cheer you on and comment and send positive energy your way. So join the Trust Your Wisdom Facebook group if you want some Facebook page, if you want some support. So for some of us, knowing what we want is a journey, right? It doesn't just happen automatically. For some people, it does. It's amazing. Some people are like crystal clear from the day they're born what they want. But for a lot of us, it's not quite like that. And there are a lot of messages that many of us face growing up, like play small or fit in. I realized for myself, for example, that I really wanted to be liked. And if you want to be liked, then sometimes you push down parts of yourself so that you fit in more. Maybe you think that you need to sacrifice for others. Well, the good news is that just like my client, it is possible to release those limiting beliefs, to turn things around, and to actually step into a place of greater joy and possibility. So if this conversation about getting what you want has left you with more questions than answers, then good. Start with wherever you are. Start with the questions and start with the noticing of what this brings up for you. And if this conversation helped you get more clear or reconnect with your desires, then excellent. Think about what action step you want to take to move it forward. If you have a desire if I have a desire for more abundance, what's one action step, big or small, that I can take to attract more abundance in my life? If you have a desire to have someone cook a meal for you, well, if you know someone will cook a meal for you, invite them over. Or if you don't, think about doing takeout, right? Like there's many ways to fulfill our desires. So what is one action step that you could do to get your desires? Well, look, there's definitely more to cover on this topic, because knowing what you want is the first step. Feeling like you already have it is the second step, but there are some more steps that I will share with you at a future date. So for now, I hope you've identified and love your desires. And as always, if you need some support to get clear, just reach out. My email, if you don't know it, is linda@innerclarity.biz, INNER, innerclarity.biz, B-I-Z. And I got inspired as I was doing this to offer a free gift this week. So if you would like a free 15-minute session for desire identification, so to identify one of your desires, then I'll put a link in the show notes and you can sign up for a 15-minute session and I will help you figure out something that you desire. All right, so that's it for this week. This is all about getting what you want. This is about staying inspired. And I hope that you are going to have an amazing week going forward. Sending you lots of love and light.
Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to leave a review and share this podcast. To learn more or to book a personal session with Linda, go to innerclarity.biz or click the link in the show notes. And may you always trust your wisdom.